And we're back again. This is Inspired Conversations. I'm Shawn from DevoApparel.store, and today I have a very special guest with me. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Hey, everyone. How you all doing? My name is Charles Tucker. I am the CEO of the brand YouTube channel, Constantine's Entertainment, and it's a pleasure to be on this channel, Shawn. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you reaching out, and I was really because you have a couple of channels too, correct? Like not just
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
Because you sent me a couple of different channels and pages, and it was unique what you were doing because offhand I'm thinking, okay, so this is like a Chuck E. Cheese centered, like it's
Yeah.
in this, but see, here's the thing, like, and I want to get into like why you do what you do,
Sure. Sure.
what
Yeah.
is ultimately is that you do, like what you would consider what it is, because of course you're the brains behind it. But
Yeah.
man, we live in this unique time, and I say it all the time. So this is what's awesome. I got so excited I didn't even bring my mic over. Um, we live in this unique time where if you literally have a passion, there is a way for you to pursue that passion and actually make money off of it too. You see,
Yeah.
there used to be a time where if you were passionate about whatever it was, let's just say I'm wearing a St. Louis Cardinal shirt. Let's just say you were
Yeah.
passionate about the Cardinals.
Mhm.
The options to be able to make money off that passion, if you weren't a coach or you weren't, you know what I mean, selling memorabilia, or you wasn't, a player, the odds of you being able to actually have a hobby and a passion that you pursued that also brought money in as an
Mhm.
entrepreneurship was very slim. You almost had to have, like I said, you almost had to be selling the memorabilia or making a product with it. Or you had to do something if you weren't a player or a coach of the team.
Yeah.
And now we live in this unique time where, dude, if you're passionate about Chuck E. Cheese, you can create a YouTube channel and you can create a podcast and you can
Yeah.
create
Exactly.
different content. And of course, we'll
Mhm.
get more into what the channel is and all of that,
Yeah.
but and the show and all that. But it's just the idea that, like, man, that really like intrigues me and also excites me because, like I said before, man, it's the time is now. Like there is so much opportunity to turn whatever your passion is into a reality and live the dream. You know what I mean? Where 10
Mhm.
years ago there just wasn't as much opportunity to do that. You know what I mean? Different platforms.
Right. Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead and break down what it is that you do, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, of course, I know some people might be kind of curious about what I do. And so to really break it down to it, I have this brand, like I mentioned, Constant Cheese Entertainment. And the whole purpose of this brand is that it runs on my YouTube channel and, of course, on my Instagram page. It's about us spreading the whole history with Chuck E. Cheese's. And I know a lot of people think different about the restaurant chains, but um, about this whole chain of the restaurant is that we do a lot of history and learn from these restaurants, especially with their animatronic shows. And of course, despite today with animatronics, with things like Five Nights at Freddy's and the other horror movie I can't think of right now. And with today's stores, they're literally taking out their shows for like a dance floor thing. So basically, what we do for our channel is that we go over the history of it, and I have a talented team of people who are also Chuck E. Cheese fans that lives different parts of the world, like California, Tennessee, um, Florida, you name it, like every fan everywhere. It's just like a very huge bond of the company, and everyone got their own interests with the chain, whether it's like the shows, the atmosphere, or the different environment of the inside. For me at least, what really makes me want to start this channel because I have been like really into this brand ever since I was a young kid, like many of us were,
Yeah.
and I think that you were around that time visiting at Chuck E. Cheese. I believe so, if you have visited one before or not. But
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah, most definitely.
well, for me, it's the history behind the whole place is just amazing, and words can explain how much I love it. And as a kid, even up to now, and I'm so glad I'm doing this interview because I was always that person who was like keeping it like so private among like many other people because of how people would view it. And I'll admit I did got fun of about it, and I did got told that I was too old for the chain. And now I'm officially 20 years old and I'm still doing this, and it's a dream of mine of doing to create this podcast, which um this whole podcast, our podcast Chucky's Talk Show, it really changed me a lot because I was in the struggle of making videos of different channels left to right. And this whole step up a real game changer. One of our last seasons we have interviewed one of the voice actors from the late 80s, early 90s, Chuck E. Cheese's.
That's
And
awesome.
we are on our third season. As of now, by the time this interview is out, we are on that little hiatus because I'm busy with college work and other stuff right now. But we are really improving our brand of forward. We have released our merch store, which is on redbubble.com if everyone's interested in buying our merch. And of course, we have surpassed 500 subscribers. Our goal is to reach the 1K hopefully soon and promote the channel out. It's just this is a dream of mine of doing, and I'm so glad and blessed with the many people I have along the way, especially with my partner, Studio Shows Entertainment, Chad Corby. Shout out to him. Without him, his amazing talent, that we wouldn't be here today making this sort of magic, not only for fans, but for generations all around the world to really enjoy and come see to our reasoning what is the magic of Chuck E. Cheese means to us.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was beautifully said, and that's what I'm talking about. That's why I wanted to open it up with, if you have a passion, we live in a day and time now where
Mm-hmm.
one, people are not ashamed anymore to talk about what their passion is. You know what I mean? Like you said, like
Right.
when people say, "Wait a minute, it's Chuck E. Cheese," like what are you doing? You know what I mean? But at the
Right.
same time,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter. It's the same as someone being into a certain type of music. At the same time, same as someone being interested in a certain movie. Like if I was to take my camera and spin it around, you would see multiple pictures of Rocky because it's inspirational to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a movie I saw when I was a kid, and I don't feel weird that I have Rocky on my wall. You know what I mean? Like it
Right.
inspires me and
Right.
motivates me. And what you
Mm-hmm.
find is one, we live in a day and time where people are not alone in how they feel about things, right? Like so
Right.
with the internet, we're finding out, hey, wait a minute, there's other people that are interested in this as well. And then two, it is once again we have platforms like YouTube and being able to do podcasts where now, like you said, people all over the world that help contribute to this channel and the product that you put out because they have a similar
Right.
passion. And then being able to interview one of the voice actors, like that's a huge milestone in what you're wanting to accomplish with the brand. And I know myself, like I will watch. There's a couple of YouTube channels that I watch where it's not centered around one brand specific, but they'll talk about like the rise and fall of, a certain company, or they'll talk about like how a certain company was created. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those channels is Hook. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but
Mm-hmm.
they'll put out videos where how companies got started and who created it, and all of that always interests me because I'm interested in entrepreneurship. I want to know how people made it, and I just don't want to know how. Like I primarily interview, rap artists, but I don't want to just know how they made it. I want to know how. Betty Crocker made it. I want to know how, like,
Right.
KFC was made, McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to know how all these different businesses were made because at the end of the day, there's always principles to success. Success leaves clues. And so
Yes.
it interests me to know how things are developed. And then, like I said, it really interests me that, you take something that you're passionate about. Because here's the thing, too, like when you have a dream, there's a lot of people out there who be like, man, I want to do this or I want to do that, like whatever it is, right? Like they have this dream, they have this goal, and this is what they want to accomplish. But the
Mm-hmm.
problem is they're not passionate about it. They like the idea of it, but the idea of it's not going to be enough to keep you going when it gets tough, right? When it doesn't
Right.
happen as soon as you want it to happen, when it's not making money, or when it's not seeming like you're getting any traction. But if you're passionate about it, you would be doing this regardless if there was any other thing attached to it. Regardless if you have 500 subscribers, regardless if there was a chance to make money off of it, regardless of anything else, you would still be in the Chuck
Right.
E. Cheese, regardless, right?
Exactly.
Like, so the fact that you can take that passion and pursue it in a way that connects other people to that passion and then turn it into a business is like, it's a win-win, because now if you have to work on it while you're in school and while you have other obligations and while you have other things that you're doing in your life, you don't care to work on it because it's something you're passionate about. It fuels itself. And when you
Yeah.
pursue your passion, that's, I don't know, it's when you're really living. You know what I mean? It's just when you're really connected to what you want to do with your life. And so, yeah, man, I think it's awesome that you, one, are pursuing that, because I'm really connected when people are just pursuing their passion. Like, I love that. The reason I do what I do, is because I'm passionate about it. I've always had a passion for helping people and encouraging people, and it's played out many different ways in my life. But now it's playing out where I'm getting to meet awesome people like you and others, and getting to talk to them about their dreams, and then getting to do like two of the things that I love to do, which is, one, if I'm watching TV or if I'm listening to something, it's usually a podcast or it's usually something on YouTube that's telling me how someone made it. So
Right.
now I'm getting to do what I would do in my spare time
Hmm.
with people. Like, how did you make this happen? How did you do this? How did you write this song? How did you whatever? It's like I'm getting to have that conversation with people, and I'm also getting to encourage people at the same time, because people listening to this, like I said, success leaves clues. And so I think it's awesome that you're pursuing your passion. And like I said, the fact that it might not seem like it's a normal thing for people to be passionate about, I think is really
Right.
intriguing and really cool, because it just goes to show you that, like, hey man, we wouldn't have 500 subscribers, even though that may not seem like a lot to some people. It's more than I got. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like, that's a huge milestone, and it goes to show that there are other
Hmm.
people that are just as passionate. When I was watching the different videos, I could tell there was some production value to what y'all were doing. It wasn't just throwing on a camera and saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to it." So I thought that was really awesome. So when did the show and everything that you're doing with like the podcast and all that, when did that launch?
Oh wow, that's a very interesting question. And I did tell myself I was going to make a video of this, but now I can actually explain this. So the whole thing of the podcast, it started way back around 2019. It first launched around May 17th of 2019. It was me and two other people, and we were just having this little group chat. And like I said, at that time I was like making new channels left to right. And I remember one person saying that my channel was so dry with like no videos of content. So I went ahead and I was like, okay, I guarantee you that the videos will get better. You'll see. And so I took it and went ahead and was like, hey, what about we start this podcast thing? Um, so there's like, sure. And so we recorded on my old tablet back then. For our first episode was like the thoughts about the first day where Chuck E. Cheese was like the Peace Sign Theater. And of course, I had a few background noise because I was and had my siblings around during that time. And I did the editing on my end on my tablet. And I really, um, at first, I didn't really know how people were going to uh, react to the first episode. I didn't know it was like, okay, is this really great or is this something not that great? It's just the background noise is too bad. Is this something that we missed out? Because it was just basically us putting random thoughts in our head. And so after a few weeks or so, the first episode, the views went up great, and people were saying, "No, this was a great episode, great topic." And some of them say that there were some interesting facts that they didn't even know before. And I was like, "Wow, this is absolutely crazy." So we we did great for this first episode, and after a while, we did another episode with the next thoughts of the year, then another episode with the next thought, and another episode with the thoughts, and we just kept on pushing more and more. And I was saying this on Studio Showbiz Chat podcast, so Stream of Nonsense, saying that like it's hard to run a channel as a brand, and you will know this too, like the feedback people would get, positive feedback or negative feedback. And I was explaining this to a friend the other night. I said, like, honestly, it doesn't matter what the feedback might be as long as it's something that you love to do. I mean, yes, in this world you're going to get a positive feedback, you're going to get a negative feedback. Sometimes negative feedback could get into you. And to
Yeah.
me, at least, I mean, to me, for example, I those negativities that I had, whether it was on the channel or me growing up, it got into me, because during the time I was always being picked on for the way I look, talk, or like what I even like. And I just went ahead and thought like, okay, I don't want to. I always thought like just giving up on my dreams and just not caring. But after, with the first episode and many more episodes, it became like, wow, people are really listening into this thing. It's something that I really achieved. And to remind too that I was the first person, not to brag or nothing, but I was the first one to really start uh a podcast for CC fans. And after a while, there was many more podcasts out there, and some didn't really last long. And it's crazy to think that like I really set like an impact reflecting on people in the community side. And I remember one night, it was me or other buddy who's used to be on our show. He was saying like one day you're going to be on Radio Showbiz, which is showbiz.com. It's a website where everyone can be a kid for CDC fans. And I was like, yeah, man, I can actually see that happening. And I contact the guy about it, saying like, hey, just wondering if we can get the podcast on the show. The first time he didn't really answer back. He's a busy dude, by the way. And
Yeah.
so I reached back to him the second time. That one night I said, hey, I reached out to you about this. Is there like any way you can put it on? And we are just talking, waiting for a reply back. His name is Travis, by the way. And shout out to Travis. He's a very great dude. He's like, sure, let's put it on the show. And so that after that night, it was like incredible. Like we had the show on Radio Showbiz. We had our first 4 episodes. He should put the rest up very soon. No rush at all, Travis, if you're watching. But it's it amazed me to think that how much of an impact I'm really putting in to this
Mm.
channel with the hard work and dedication. And like Kaya said about when you watch for the videos, it's not just us being on camera saying, hey, and what's the videos about. It's us taking our time out and research of doing all of
Mm-hmm.
this. Like, for example, one of the successful videos that I think I'm really mostly proud of, well, in my opinion, I'm mostly proud of, is one of my top 3 reasons about why Chuck E. Cheese is like a Sesame Street Muppet wannabe. And of course, I'm a huge fan of the Muppets. We are making new changes with having them on the channel. And that video really took me a while to think like, at first, no one's really going to sit down and really watch this. Who's really going to really listen to my voice and hear what I got to say? But after a while, with so many other stuff was going around, it took me to note like, I need to make this topic. I need my voice to be heard. And so that's what I did. I did my little research on both sides of the ends, and I went ahead, type up my script, read over it, record it, and edit it. And next thing you know, people were sharing it on their story of my posts and comments about um, how they agree about what I was saying. And it's just, like I said, it's crazy to think how much of an impact the channel and myself is making in this community, because who would know if like if I gave up on this dream now, I wouldn't be here
Yeah.
happen. And I am truly blessed for all the friends and all the fans that's been supporting me since day one of the channel and the podcast. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds for this whole brand in general.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's awesome to hear the story of how it got started, because one of the things I wanted to kind of pick apart there was when you said like the first episode, was recorded on a tablet. There was background noise. The editing wasn't probably as good as you wanted it to be, or whatever,
Right.
you know. And then you're kind of having some doubts, but then to see it kind of take off and people interact with it and appreciate the content, I think it's a testament to what stops most people on the
Right.
pursuit of their dream is
Mm-hmm.
starting. The start stops most people
Right.
because they think, oh, well, if I'm going to do this, I can't record it on my tablet. I got to have a
Right.
camera. And I can't just use the camera's microphone. I need to have a podcast microphone. And if I'm going to edit this, I need to probably buy Adobe Premiere or another video editing software because I want it to be edited really well. And what
Right.
happens is they start thinking that they have to have everything perfect. And you don't need perfect. What you need is purpose. And what you found was the purpose, right? What you found was the passion. And when you connect
Right.
into that, all that other stuff doesn't matter. If you, one of my favorite things to do is to go to like a big YouTube channel, right? And
Right.
what I'll do is like when you're on the app, you know, it'll have, you know, you go to their uploads or their videos and it'll show you their latest uploads. But if you click from showing newest and then you click to oldest, it'll show you their first videos. And I love going back and watching their first videos because what you find out is that the way you see them now is not the way that they started. And
Right.
that is so true for people that are on the journey to do what they want to do with their lives, is to realize, don't psych yourself out. So what all you have is a tablet? So what there's background noise? So what maybe you know, the editing isn't how you really want it to be. So what? Get started. Just do it. Just do it. Take the first step. And then learn how to celebrate your steps. And that's another part of your story that I really enjoy hearing is that you're celebrating the steps. Like you said, there's always going to be negativity out there. People who do not, well, let me see how I want to word this. I feel like if someone's taking time to hate on someone else, it's because they're not happy. And that's just facts. Anytime that people hate on someone, it's because they're not happy. They're jealous. Something's not in their life that is causing them to want to lash out at someone else. Because if you're happy and you're winning in your life, you don't worry about someone else winning. You're thankful and glad that they are. Like, you're celebrating the fact that someone else is winning because you're winning. But if you feel threatened, if they're doing what you want to do, if you're jealous because they're pursuing what they want to do, no matter how silly it may seem to someone else, it's going to bother you. You know what I mean? Only if you're insecure about that. So realizing where hate comes from helps me handle hate differently. But I'm also intrigued at the fact that you said, you know what, I'm just going to focus on the steps that I'm taking forward. And each is progressing with each time. Like you said, getting featured on that is a huge step for y'all. You know what I mean? And as you said, the rest of the episodes are going to be uploaded soon. So it's like, it's awesome just to see the progression of like how you go from recording on a tablet, where now I see you obviously have a microphone in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, things are upgrading. Like I said, I've checked out the channel. I can see the different types of videos you're doing. So yeah, man, like I think this is awesome. And like I said, again, I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but it's just a testament that if you have something you're passionate about, go for it. There's a market. There is, and more than a market, there are other people who enjoy it as well. You're not the only person that likes this. And so go for it. And whatever this is, you know, for you it's Chuck E. Cheese. For me it's motivation. It's like, we're not the only people that like those things. There are other people. There's an audience. And if you're passionate about it, then there's a reason why you're passionate about it. And you might as well do it. You might as well put it out there. So what do you see? Well, I have a couple questions. So let me ask this one first. What is next for you? I mean, what do you see in the immediate future and in the far future for Concept Cheese and just the show and the podcast and just everything you're kind of working on with it? I know you said that you may start adding some other content that includes like the Muppets and things like that. But what do you
Yeah,
see in the near future and in the far future?
that's a good question. Honestly, I'm a person that really never cared much about the future or the past. I just let it be on its
Mm.
own.
Mm-hmm.
But the future for constant cheese, that's a question I always ask myself every time. What is the future for this industry? Where is it going to be next? I'm I'm really hoping that the future for this brand is that whatever happens, like if we end the show on a good note, or if we just, you know, go away for a while, I'm hoping that people will remember this by, not only just being a podcast that's just, or a brand that's just, started something for the company and making all these videos, but I just wanted to remember by not only just fans, but just generation down the line for kids who wants to start making a podcast, who wants to start doing
Mm.
videos, who are in the corner in their rooms, like just crying, saying that they ain't gonna make it in this world being a somebody. My my hope for this is to reflect onto this future generation of kids, or to adults in general. It's like, you want to start making a podcast, want to start doing videos, whatever it is, like you said, with motivation, talking to rappers and entrepreneurs, then go for it. I mean, yes, people are going to get at you for whatever, they're going to put you down, but my hopes is that I be an impact in this world, of being someone who says that negativity, you can have it, you get
Mm.
negativity all the time, but you need to not let the negativity get to you.
Mm.
Keep on pushing forward. If you want to make it up to the top of the game or to the mountain, keep pushing forward. What's going to stop you from reaching your dreams and goals?
Yeah.
Literally nothing. Just keep on pushing forward. Like I said, for me, I face negativity all the time, whether it's with the channel or with personal stuff. But I can't let that get into me because I have people that support what I do, what I love. And of
Yeah.
course, there's so many people wanting to shout out, but the thing is, you know, just got to keep pushing forward to reach my dreams and goals. Maybe one day, people are going to look at me when I'm walking down the street and notice my channel. Maybe some people won't. Some people might like it. Some people not might like it. But, who cares about what people think? As long as you're having your dreams and your goals, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But that's my way of seeing the future for it, is that, I have let an impact for the future generation. As like, if you want to start a podcast or you want to start a channel, you don't know where to start, then check what I do. Like I said, I started everything with a tablet. I mean, I didn't know where I was going to go to next. Now look at me. I got a microphone, got a laptop. So much stuff have been happening with me throughout my life, but there's another thing too. Always remain staying positive. And I
Mm.
know it's a hard thing to do, and I have learned from it the hard way. But if you keep on remaining positive and just keep going with the flow, then you're going to keep on being better and pushing forward.
Mm.
It's it's not a hard thing to do. I know it's going to be hard for some people, but still, if you keep on pushing forward and keep on remaining staying positive in whatever you're doing, failures are going to come in all the time. I get it. But don't let the failure get, if plan A doesn't work, go with plan B. If plan B doesn't work, go on to plan C or in plan D until you get it right. That's my message of it for the future.
Mm.
Um
Yeah.
Hoping, that this whole brand leaves a very huge impact for not only its fans but for the whole future generation, more to come.
Yeah, I love it. It's an ambitious goal, and it's a big goal, because I think at the end of the day that's what our life is for. You know what I mean? I think inspiration and motivation and encouragement, that's what we're supposed to do for one another while we're here on this earth, because we don't know how long we're going to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who thought they were going to wake up today that didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, since we have breath in our lungs, we have to use it. And it's best used when we pursue our passion, because when we pursue our passion, our purpose is linked to our passion. And so when we can see as to why we're intrigued by something or why we need to express something, we see a bigger purpose behind it, which is the encouragement and the impact that it can have on people. Like you said, whether it's just someone, feeling justified in the fact that they can follow their dreams now from what you do, and just that being an
Right.
inspiration to be like, dude, it doesn't matter what it is, just go for
Yeah.
it. I think that's an awesome message to give out. So what, I know you said y'all are on a hiatus now. Is
Yeah.
the content and the podcast, is there a plan for that to start back up soon, or?
Yes, we just really at the moment if I'm gonna be honest with you on here, it's really been a hard time because uh everybody's and it's like they're busy with school and they're busy with work and all. And as of right now, we're supposed to have the release of our next topic, like our next evolution. I don't know when that'll be yet because I still have to edit one part of it, and then I have another topic that I'm possibly by the time this video out might be out for a new topic episode. I'm not sure just yet. I'm just really playing around with this new idea, but we have some new ideas coming in. We're trying to expand some new topics out at the moment, some new discussions, but it's just been hard because we have released some of our old members due to reasonings, and of course we are planning on coming back soon. I don't know when soon that will be just yet because everybody is taking a break from the channel. And of course I definitely myself needed this break for a very long time. and
Yeah.
um and so I'm hoping soon. We're planning on getting more interviews out very soon with more people. It's just been hard, and we're just trying to come ideas with some new topics. But yeah, the talk show and the whole channel will be back up running soon. Might be by the time this interview's out, might be up running. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, it'll be out we'll be out with more topics very soon before you know it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I love asking that question and kind of picking at, if you
Mhm.
notice, like some of the questions I'm asking aren't just the simple questions like, well, how did it get started? It's like, okay, well, what's the future, and when's more content coming out? And the reason I ask, or how did it start? And the reason is because the reason why I do inspired conversations is exactly that. I want to inspire people to chase their dreams. Doesn't matter what you have, doesn't matter what you don't have, doesn't matter what it is, where you're at, go for it now and just
Right.
start, and realize how you start's not going to be how you finish. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has a
Right.
starting point. If you look at, well, for instance, if you look at the brand of Chuck E. Cheese, you know what I mean? What it was, or what it
Mhm.
is now, was not what it was when it first started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone starts
Mhm.
somewhere. So I love talking about that, but I also love talking about the challenges, because it's not just the start that stops most people. When you hit that rough patch, when you hit that I need a break, when you hit that we have to let some people go, when you hit adversity in the journey, a lot of times that's when people give up, because they say, well, it's not happening like I thought it would happen. It's not going the way I thought it would go. It's not happening as fast as I thought it would happen. There's a plethora of reasons, but that's usually when people just throw in the towel and say, okay, well, I'm done. And I really believe how we persevere through all of that, whether it's the comments, whether it's the adjustments, whether it's the idea of rest and prioritizing other things around it, how we handle those are really the telltale signs of whether or not, one, we're doing what we're passionate about, and then two, what it's going to become. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like literally the sky is the limit. Like there is no limit to what we can do. And if we could really just put in the work and be consistent and realize, you know what, breaks are okay, and adjustments are okay, and even the falls are okay. I always use this illustration on the show because I just think it's a powerful illustration, and I repeat it every episode, damn near every episode, because I really want people to get this locked in their mind. When my son took his first steps walking, right, it didn't
Right.
happen overnight. I kind of thought that because I had never been a father before. I just imagined that just he would just start walking. It's not how it happened at all. There were stages, right?
Right.
There was a stage where he started rolling over. And that was the idea that he realized, wait a minute, I can move, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I can, there's some movement here. And so he started rolling over. I quickly had to like make sure the spot that he was in where he would roll over was safe for him to roll over, right? Because the environment that we're in doesn't always support our dreams. That's the idea, right? So we have to make sure we're in the right environment around the right people because not everything in my room was designed for him to roll over. Like there's some stuff he could roll over and get hurt on if he rolls into it. And the same way is like, man, a lot of times what discourages people from following their dreams are people who love them and give them bad advice. And the reason I say they give them bad advice is because anytime you chase your dream, it's not safe. And the people who love you the most are going to give you the safest advice because they don't want to see you hurt. So if you're listening to the people who love you the most, they're going to tell you this is stupid. They're going to tell you don't follow it. They're going to tell you no one's going to listen because they just want what's best for you or what they think's best for you, and that's what's safest for you. But if you're going to follow your dreams, there's nothing safe about it. There's risk. It's hard. It's difficult, but it's worth it because it's what you're passionate about. And then after the rolling over stage, he started crawling, right? And so this is the idea where he's like, okay, now I'm mobile. Now I'm moving around a bit. And this is when, that rollover moment is when we realize we have a dream. That crawling moment is when we start getting, or when we get started on pursuing that dream. And then you have the pull-up stage. That's where he's looking for different things in the house to actually pull up on and be able to stand. And once again, not everything that he would pull up on in my house was designed for him to pull up on it. There's some stuff that he would pull up on and it would fall over if he pulled up on it. So I had to get it out of the house. I threw away a coffee table because it was a glass coffee table. And I didn't want him pulling up on that glass and that glass flipping over on him, So I threw it away, or I gave it away. But it's just like, get it out of here. Like, I don't want it. I don't care what I paid for it. I don't want to risk him getting hurt. And the same is true. Like, not everything is going to support your dream because it can't sustain it. It's your dream. It's not someone else's dream. They're not going to understand it because it's not their dream. It's not their passion. It's not what wakes them up. It's not what excites them, but it's what excites you, right? So you have to get those opinions out. You know what I mean? I gave the coffee table away. Get it out of here because it can't support the dream, right? And then the moment finally happened. He's done the rolling over, he's done the crawling, he's done the pulling up, and now he's got that weird wobbly, it looks like he's hula hooping, you know what I mean? Kind of, I'm standing, but I'm wobbly, and then he takes a step, and then he hula hoops, and then he takes a step, and then he does this little hula hoop, and then he falls. And in that moment, I celebrated him. Like me and his mother, we grabbed him, and we love on him, and we kiss him, and we encourage him, and we're like excited. You know what I mean? Because he just took steps. No one was like, dude, you fell. You suck at walking. Like, no one was saying that, right? Why?
Right.
Because we expected him to fall. Because that's part of learning to walk.
Right.
And if you're going to pursue your dream, it's the same thing. Like, you're going to fall. You're going to fail at times. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be trips. There's going to be stumbles. It's not going to be perfect all the time. But if you can do the same way that we do when we see a kid learn to walk, we notice the steps more than we notice the fall. Why? Because we know each step leads to another step that leads to another step. And pretty soon those falls are going to become less and less. Why? Because they learned to walk. And that's the idea of pursuing dreams. And if people can grasp that and get that, there's nothing that's going to stop you. Like you said, well, what's going to stop you from getting your goals? Nothing, right? Because you know how to walk now. And sure, my son's 5 now, and there's times where he trips. You know what I mean? But the trips are like very few and far between because he knows how to walk. And that's the idea. It's like, man, even when you've been winning for years, you still may trip. I mean, I'm 30 years old and I trip every now and then. It happens, right? But using this metaphor, there's still going to be times where even if you have success, there's going to be a stumble, there's going to be a trip, and you're just going to have to get back up and go again and not emotionalize the fall. And I think a lot of times we treat business different. We treat dreams different. We don't treat it like watching a kid learning how to walk. Well, we
Right.
think that the fall is an indictment on us that's saying you can't do it. And that's insecurity, and we have to get it out. We have to just push it away. So, anyways, man, your story pumps me up. I think it's awesome that you're pursuing it. And I really loved how just when I asked you that question, you were just being honest and transparent. It was like, man, I don't really know. You know what I mean? We're taking
Yeah.
breaks. We just have to, because once again, that's the reason I used that whole fall illustration, is that the transparency shows that, there's not an insecurity in you when it comes to this anymore. Like, you're confident in what you do, you know what you want to do, and
Hmm.
that's why you're able to be transparent. Because a lot of people in that
Hmm.
situation would have been like, oh yeah, it's gonna be back on, next week. Like they just would not be honest and transparent about it because they'd be afraid that that might mean that they're not gonna make it or they're not gonna do it or people are gonna doubt them. And so, anyways, I'm rambling, but yeah, man, I think this is awesome. I think it's awesome that you're doing this, that you have been doing this. So, how many years is it going on doing this now? You said the first episode was 2019.
Yeah, this is like our third year going into this.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
and every year there's more traction. When did you
Mm.
get the voice actor interview?
Oh
When
man,
did
that's that one. Okay, I'm gonna explain like a long story short because there's a lot of things I cannot say on here because
I
I
get
know
that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I gotta
anything
keep
you
it
can,
private.
that's cool.
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep a long story short. I know some fans might be watching it, but I gotta keep it private
Yeah.
amongst me and Chad. But anyway, so how we got him was that one of the fans who been knowing him ever since reached out to Chad for something for him to do for like his sort of thing, and he's like, I ain't gonna pay you or nothing, but is there anything you want to do for return? I can do it. I think he did offer him money. I don't remember. And we was on the call one night. He was like, "Hey, would it be crazy if we just like get Scott Wilson on?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, let's actually do it. Let's try it out." So he reached out to us saying, "Like, is it possible to get Scott on?" And he was like, "Sure, let me see what he said." So that part of it, I forgot when it all happened, and I know the episode released around in April. We were that during that time of it, it was kind of hard on both of our ends, and of course, the person that was helping out Chad getting Scott, he didn't respond back, uh, like straight through, and of course some of our other pals, he was like, gotta be careful with this one because Scott almost didn't do an interview for one of the other fan conventions a while back in 2011. And so we was at the point of really just giving up. He was like, we ain't gonna do this. We ain't gonna have Scott on. There's no point of us like going this far until one night or day we got a text back saying that Scott said he's down to do the interview, just don't know like what day he's like doing it. That's also another thing too, like the different days of him doing it in times, and plus with Chad with him working at a Chuck E. Cheese's, it was hard on his schedule, so he had to work between his schedule. At the point I was gonna do the interview, but didn't. But Chad actually he did, and he had Scott's number and contacted Scott on what day to do it. Since nowadays Scott's really he stepped down the role of voice acting, but he does like other stuff. I probably won't say due to his privacy of life, but we did the episode. Chad recorded on his end in his garage with the mic and phones and make sure every audio came out clear. And our set date was to upload it on April 2nd, so like the day after April 1st. And by the time we released the episode, people were thinking like, "Oh, this is some joke that they're pulling. There's no way that they got Scott Wilson." And by the time the premiere started and Chad introduced Scott Wilson, everybody in the chat was going completely crazy, saying like, "Oh, you guys really got Scott Wilson? So how you guys doing?" It was like we always say like this. We always say it's magic, But now
Yeah.
this kind of explains like a bit of the short story how we got him.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you sharing that story because it's like that just goes to show that I was having this conversation earlier with one of my friends that
Hmm.
opportunity is out there, right? You just have to be where it's at. Like it's that simple. You just have to find it.
Hmm.
And the truth is that opportunity is developed through relationships. You know what I mean? Like when you get to know people and you meet this person, then that meets that person. It's just like even how we linked up, and how we're doing this interview. It's like you know what I mean? Like I don't know that you ever thought you would do this and I never thought that
Yeah,
I would do
exactly.
this. You know what I mean? But it
Hmm.
happens and that's relationships and that's how you build these different relationships in whatever you want to do. And it's really that simple. Like people ask me all the time, like, well, how did you get this artist or how did you get this person to be on there? And it's like, man, I just went for it. Like, I messaged them, I reached out, I figured out a way. You know what I mean? And some of the artists that I haven't released all of them yet, but some of the artists that I ended up doing interviews with, dude, I messaged them 50 times. You know what I mean? I'm not joking. Like I messaged them 50 times and they just eventually saw it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because I'm not the
Yeah.
only person reaching out to them, and it's just
Right.
persistence, and it's getting to know this person, and then you get to know that person, and it's networking, and it just builds, and then pretty soon, and I was saying this the other day too. It's all about setting in motion.
Yeah.
You're setting a domino in motion,
Hmm.
and regardless if you think you are or not, you are. You're either becoming more of the person you want to be or you're becoming less of the person you want to be. There's no in between. You're growing. You're either growing further from what you want to do or more or closer to what you want to do. That's the only two. And so every day we're setting this domino in motion. And we just got to ask ourselves, is this the domino I want to set in motion? Is this really what I want to do with my life? Is this really what I want to set in motion? Because each day when we wake up, we're setting a domino in motion. And the beautiful part
Yep.
of it is we get to decide which domino it is. We literally
Hmm.
get to decide what we set in motion. You can say it in another way, and all these illustrations are kind of corny, but like we're all writing a story. But what oftentimes happens is we give the pen to something else. We give the pen to our limitations. We give the pen to our situations. We give the pen to other people's opinions. We give the pen to all kinds of other people. And I'm just saying, my whole spiel of why I do what I do, why there's Devo Apparel, why there's the podcast, why there's all this stuff, is to say just take the pen back. It's your
Right.
life, it's your story, and it's up to you to write the story. And if you won't write the story, something else will. And then you can't complain when the story's not what you want because you gave the pen to something else. You gave the pen to someone else. And so I'm just saying take the pen back. And it's awesome that you've taken the pen and you're writing your story and it's remarkable. You know what I mean? That you're getting to
Hmm.
just go from like you said as we started the interview as someone who felt people had opinions about you being into this, like, hey man, you're too old for this, you don't need to be into this. But now you've taken the pen and you're just like, dude, I don't really care if you don't think this is cool. I don't think
Right.
that you thinking it's not cool is cool. How about that one?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're the lame
Exactly.
one for not thinking it's cool because it is cool,
Hmm.
and there's other people who think it's cool, and I'm gonna get into this. So yeah, man, I think the sky's the limit for you. I could totally see you. You were talking about like being at like the different comic cons and different things like that. I could totally see you being at
Hmm.
those and being like a personality and a host of those things because you are relating to the people who also relate to this product and this company. And so yeah, anything else you'd like to share before we close this out?
Yeah, I think the one more thing I want to share, it's a little advice, like you said, we all live one life, just gotta live to the fullest. And like I said, for anyone out there that want to start a podcast of business, of music, or be an entrepreneur, go for it. The sky's the
Mhm.
limit, and in the words of Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets, life is like a movie. Write your own ending. Keep believing, keep pretending. And for me at least, it didn't mean nothing as like someone who has said that just for himself. No, that's for all of us. Life, wherever life hits you, go for it. Don't give
Mm,
up on your dreams. Because,
that's
like I
it.
just said from Jim Henson, life is like a movie. Write your own ending. Keep on believing and keep on pretending. Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you joining me today,
My
and
pleasure.
I'll definitely put all the social links and everything uh,
Sure thing.
on
No matter.
this. And anyways, guys, this has been Inspired Conversations. I'm Shawn from DevoApparel.store. This is Charles Tucker from Concept Cheese, and we'll see you next time.